Hey guys, so I'm here today to share with you how I put together my Valentine's Day mini album. So here you can see the finished album that I made in the previous video, and I'm just going to share some of my supplies with you so you can see kind of what I pulled from my stash. I pulled out that Victorian Velvet Distress ink, the Mint Julep Hero Arts Shadow ink, and 3 chalk inks from my collection, a white and 2 pinks. That's my Wink of Stella glitter pen in clear. I pulled out some embossing powders. One is from Stampin' Up! And the other 2 are from American Crafts, and they're all shades of pink. I pulled out some pink Mr. Huey's. I think they're called First Kiss and Pretty Pink. I just grabbed some washi from my stash and some pinks, grays, and kind of a mint green color. That's the Lots of Dots stamp from Simon Says Stamp. That is the color wash set from Pink Paisley, and then I have a few sets that I got from Studio Calico. Those are both from Ellie's Studio. That's another Pink Paisley set. So I just tried to pull stamps that I thought would work well with love and Valentine's and little hearts. I really like that heart stamp from the Jubilee kit, and then that previous stamp set had been from Chic Tags. So I really liked all of those. And there I was planning on using the Pale Tomato ink from Hero Arts. I grabbed some pink and gray twine, some ribbons left over from that wreath project, and my watercolors. Let's see, those are some bark hearts from Prima, and I really like those. I haven't used them much yet, but they have real bark on them, so they're a little bit different from typical wood veneers. Of course, gotta have some enamel dots, so I pulled a few different sets. Some stickers from the Polka Dot Party collection by Dear Lizzie, some cut-aparts from Ellie's Studio. And again, this is all just pulled from my stash, just trying to keep in with the love Valentine's theme. Anything to do with me and my husband. Those are some wood veneer letters from Studio Calico. And of course, gotta have some thickers, different letter thickers. So I had quite a wide range. Those are the new ones from Crate Paper, and those were really cute. And then some Dear Lizzie Polka Dot Party stickers. And then that card was from one Project Life kit. I'm not really sure which. It was just in my stash. I pulled out some wood veneer, and I also printed out some of the printables from 2 Peas in a Bucket, and I printed those on vellum, and I had those cut out. Got some stickers, chipboard stickers, and a stencil. So this is just kind of my whole stuff that I had picked out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my photos apart. I printed 2 of them 3x4, and the other ones I printed 3x3, and I just printed them that size so they would fit on one 4x6 sheet. Since I print all my photos from home on 4x6 sheets, it's just easier for me to print them out at 3x3, even though I really like that white border that it gives. So I'm just going to kind of play around with where I want the photos. I knew I was going to do 2 on the front and 2 on the back, so I was just trying to decide what paper goes where. Alright, so I'm just going to speed this up here a little bit because I do kind of play around with the placement of my photos, and I turned out that light that was giving such a bad glare, so hopefully that'll go away. So then I'm just writing on the back of each photo what paper that I want it on, so I don't forget where I want the photo to go whenever I'm putting them all together here in a little bit. And I'm going to work on the title first. Now, I had originally wanted the title to be on the pink, but that didn't work out because some of my patterns had to be facing up and down. So here I'm just going to play around with the title card for a little bit and put it on that black polka dot paper. And those are the vellum pieces that I cut out from the 2 Peas in a Bucket printable. And of course they came out with their February Valentine's printables, and I had to get some because I was working on this album at the time, so I was super glad they came out with them. And then I pulled from my stash some ribbon that I had purchased quite a while back. It's from an old crate paper line, and I just wanted to have a little closure on one side of the album. Even though it's an accordion fold album, I just wanted to be able to tie it closed on that one side. So I just put a little bit of glue runner on each side of those ribbons, and I'm planning on covering both sides up, so I just wanted to have some glue on there just to hold it down. And of course I left a lot of slack because it always takes more ribbon than you think to tie a bow, so leave yourself plenty of slack. So here I'm just going back to working on the title, and I really wanted to use those ribbons on the front, but I couldn't find a spot, so I'm just kind of playing around here. And that wood veneer, I'm using one of the chalk inks to color it, and I just tested it a little on the back side because not all wood veneers like to have ink put on them. Some of them don't absorb the ink very well, or sometimes the color is not as bold as you want it to be. So I just test it on the back side just a little bit before I do it on the front side, and it worked out well, but it didn't end up working well on the cover. So there you go. So I'm just going to speed this up here a little bit and put some music on for you guys so you can see how I put the rest of my album together, and I'll pop back in if there's something that I want to explain for you guys. Okay, so I just kind of cleaned up my area there, and I got out the Versamark ink, and I'm just stamping one of those hearts from one of those LE Studio stamp sets, and I'm just stamping it all over the page, and I'm going to do kind of an ombre effect with the embossing powder. So I'm going to stamp them all over, but I'm not going to put embossing powder over all of them at once. So if you want to do this in shifts, that's fine. I just found it easier to kind of do it all at once. So I just cut that straw into pieces. That way I could get a little better coverage. You could use like a plastic spoon or just pour it on there, but I don't have a very steady hand, so I just decided to go ahead and use those straw pieces. And so I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it on there, kind of mixing the colors in a little bit. Like if there's a spot that I miss, I'm gonna blend those together, and that'll help with the ombre effect. And so I'm just gonna do that. First I did that red powder from Stampin' Up, and then I did grapefruit from Zing, and then I think that last one is called Rose, I think, and that's in the Zing embossing powder. So then I just use my heat tool to set all of those, and it came out with this pretty ombre effect. That grapefruit is a little more neon colored than I really would have preferred, but I ended up liking the way it came out, and I just use this page as kind of an embellishment page, so I really like the way it came out. So I'll show you guys how I put it all together. Alright, so here I'm working on that second page, and I had pulled out a little paper bag there with some notebook lines on it, and it didn't really fit on that page, and that journaling card wouldn't have fit into it. So what I did was I just cut part of it off to make a little hidden pocket for journaling, and I decided that it needed some decoration, so I'm pulling out my washi and I'm going to try to decorate part of that bag, but that tape just kind of blended into the background. So I put the bag down, and then I put some washi tape on top of it just to kind of dress it up a little bit. So there I've got some triangle washi tape, and then I've got two different ones from Freckled Fawn that are both kind of a quilt pattern type, and they both happen to really go along well with the colors that I had chosen for this Valentine's Day album. So there I'm going to put that typewriter on there and stick the journaling card in there, and I'll journal on it later on. And then I want to go back with that Wink of Stella brush pen and just color all over that typewriter, and just give it a little bit of sparkle. Just it felt kind of plain, so I just went back in there and did that with the Wink of Stella. And I'll show you in a separate video the finished album, so you can kind of see everything up close. And how I put it all together, because there are a few things that I add in off camera, just because this album probably took me 4 hours to put together, because I did it all pretty much in one sitting. So, and of course after you finish the album you think, oh, I should have done this, or I need to add this back in. So not everything got put on camera, but most of it did. So I'll leave you to watch the video for a little bit, and I'll chime back in a little bit. So, as if making a mini album wasn't enough, I decided that I wanted to do some interactive pages at the end. And so, what I ended up doing was I pulled out 4 6x6 sheets from some paper pads, and I marked them all up where I wanted to cut them, and I cut them 3¼ inch wide by 4½ inch tall. So then whenever you go to score the pieces, you want to score them at 2¼ inches. And that will essentially give you a little mini album to put on top of your mini album. So I ended up putting a lot of embellishments into this little tiny album, and so mine kind of stuck out pretty far from the back of the album, but I like it that way. So my advice would be that if you wanted to put less embellishments on there, it probably will be flatter, or you could do 3 pages instead of 4 like I did, so that would be 6 pages instead of 8. And the other thing that you want to notice is that my pages are patterned on one side and blank on the other. That doesn't bother me, might bother you, so if you want to choose papers with patterns on both sides, go ahead. So I just kind of trimmed up the edges there because my edges didn't all line up, and then I just stapled it closed, and that made my little mini album within a mini album. And I just put it on one of the blank pages, and I did some journaling and embellishing, so I'll show you that here in a little bit.